Hey guys, Insomnia here with some more AFK Arena. Today we're back with Tier Maker and we are looking at our Lightbearer group. So we've covered the Wilders, we've covered the Celestials, the Hypogeans, and the Dimensionals. So with the Lightbearers, we have two factions left. So let's go ahead and get into these heroes. First one we look at is Rigby. Rigby does really good with the Chalice because it offers an a health regeneration. Rigby is a hero that has to get stacks up or he will die very, very early. He's the warrior class, meaning that a lot of people will do the Chaos Bringer for the life leech, but remember, he does have to scale. If he dies very, very early, he is absolutely worthless. If he does have the opportunity to scale a little bit, he can survive. That is where the Grace comes in as well, giving him a shield again with his survivability. Once you get him to scale, similar to Isolde and a couple other heroes, very, very difficult to kill. Last option would be the Chaos Bringer. Again, that will allow him with a little bit of life leech and haste overall. Estrilda, now we are looking at the campaign itself. So in the campaign, using the brand new Carnage artifact, the big reason for that is, again, the life leech, the haste and the life leech that are to bring very, very strong, followed by the Chaos Bringer. Very similar artifacts, but with Estrilda, she is going to take a significant amount of damage because remember, she always stays frontline and she is frontline. So that Carnage artifact is going to proc, hopefully more than once, allowing her to increase her survivability dramatically. Last one we look at is the Chalice. Again, Chalice very, very strong with the heal over time that it brings. Belinda, now the next two artifacts, this is the Warden, and then the Spellbinder. So the Warden is the brand new artifact. The real two big differences between it is the Spellbinder is going to allow you to get energy when you enter, so you gain 400 energy when you enter the battle. When you do ult the first time, then it does have a negative energy effect, meaning that you are going to lose energy the first time. So essentially, one artifact is really based on big, big boom damage right from the beginning to ult very, very quick, which is good for heroes like Irons. For Belinda, Belinda is usually run with Rose. So overall, with the Warden artifact, it is going to bring more attack. It is going to bring more survivability with defense. It is also going to allow her ultimate AoE ability to do more damage because remember, it has a 12-second cooldown on the damage that it's going to do. So I put the artifact on her first. Again, for the survivability, it does bring haste, it does bring more attack, and it brings more damage. Overall, that is what we want Belinda for, a monster damage. Essentially, with the other artifact, yes, you get to ult faster, but once you ult, once the initial energy regeneration is there, then that's it. So if the battle does go on 30 seconds, 45 seconds, maybe even a full minute, you're going to find a much, much bigger benefit out of the Warden artifact than you will find with the Windbinder artifact overall. Similar to the Blade, so the third option for her is the Blade, again, is the damage. This scales in time, so every so many seconds, it increases the attack rating, allowing her to do more damage. And then, of course, the Call is just straight up ult. So this will give her more energy for more ults. Rain, I do a little bit different. I like the Ion Rain. One, it brings her damage up a little bit, plus with the haste. So when she gets the haste, she can actually use the abilities faster, which is good. Overall, that is really the big thing about her, especially using her on boss battles. Most people do run the eye on her to increase the haste, allowing her to ult faster, followed by the Call and the Tidebearer, which again, both of those are just energy regen. Rain, again, they haven't buffed her damage enough to really be effective. So unfortunately, at this time, that is the artifact. For Rowan, we go straight up Call. The Call is straight energy regeneration. When Rowan ults, his ult will give energy regeneration to other heroes, which is super powerful. Overall, giving energy back to Rowan. Second option is the Tidebearer, which provides a shield, but if the shield is broken, they don't have quite as high energy regeneration, which is why the Call is the priority. The Chalice is on here for survivability. Same with the Grace, the survivability of the hero. If he dies very quickly, it can really hinder the battle, where his ultimate ability is so powerful, especially if you have a signature item unlocked, which is one of the highest priorities in the game, is building Rowan first. Next hero we look at is our super buffer. So Rose buffs one hero specifically. She follows Gwen, she follows Belinda, she follows Ainz. Super, super strong damage. She can follow Saurus. Putting the eye on her increases her damage because she does a significant amount of damage. Where Rain doesn't do any as support, Rose does a ton of damage as support. So allowing her to attack quicker, very, very powerful, getting those teacups up with the haste, followed by the call. Again, the call goes back to energy regeneration. As soon as she ults, whoever she is following is given the energy, allowing them to ult. Very, very powerful with her energy regeneration. Followed the exact same thing with the Tidebearer, the energy regeneration that it brings. Then, of course, the Blade. Now, a portion of Rose's attack will go to the hero that she's following. The Blade over time will increase her attack rating, in turn increasing the hero that she's following, making them stronger. Next hero we look at, which I'm kind of torn between Gwen, because the Shroud is very, very strong for initial burst damage. The Eye is a little bit longer battles with the haste and overall with the damage, especially with the big crit boost that it gives when it gets to 5 stars of the Eye. That is why I put the Eye on her first. Other thing with the Shroud is it provides survivability. So it does shield her at the beginning of battle. Majority of the time, it is not an issue at the beginning of battle for her to get that shield. So essentially, short of the boost to damage, the shield is not going to be used. So overall, it is the exact same scenario where the Eye will be more effective when it comes to longer battles. If the battle is going to last 15-20 seconds, the Shroud is going to do more damage because you're not going to have enough time to make up the difference. But overall, for normal battles, the Eye is going to be the priority, followed by the Blade. When we look at Cecilia and Oscar, they are both the same. Both of them go straight in for the kill, straight on the enemies, especially with Oscar needing to get some of the mitigation up, Cecilia getting her aura up for her mitigation. The Shroud on both of them are very, very important, not only to boost their damage at the beginning, but to also increase their survivability throughout the entire battle. Followed by the Eye and then the Blade for the exact same reasons. The Eye provides the haste and the crit, allowing them to do more damage. The Blade, over time, they will do more damage. Overall, out of those two, though, Cecilia is an absolute monster. Oscar, nobody uses short of fusion material. Even with relics in the Abyssal Expedition, Oscar was very, very disappointed. I actually had Oscar up at Ascended. I had Thane at Elite Plus. Yes, I know Thane only at Elite Plus. Thane was outperforming Oscar in the Abyssal Expedition with relics by far. Absolutely by far, doing phenomenal work with Thane versus Oscar. Which brings us to Thane. So Thane, exact same reason. The Shroud, very, very powerful for the initial burst damage mitigation. So if Thane goes front row, remember, magic damage cannot be dodged. So if he goes front row, magic damage, he starts taking damage. If he does not have the shield from the Shroud, a majority of the time he will die. If you can get him to scale, if you can get him to live a little, which is what the Shroud is for, he will be very, very tough, especially if he doesn't get hit. And if he starts ulting where he is untargetable, very, very strong hero. Followed by the Eye. If you don't have the Shroud, the Eye is the choice because of the haste, you get a little bit of resistance and you do get some crit in there. Followed by the Grace and of course the Call for the final one to get him to ult. When he ults, he is untargetable, very, very strong, which brings us to Falx. Falx being ranged, being lower damage, the Eye is ideal for him, increasing again the haste. Overall, he is there for crowd control. He is there for buffs and debuffs. He is not going to be your damage dealer, which means that is not a very big priority to run the Shroud or running the Call. Overall, you want him with the Eye. That way he is maximizing the haste and also the energy regeneration to go ahead and clear the buffs and buff your team. Followed by the Blade, the Shroud, and the Call. Now we get into the tanks, the genuine tanks. Lucius, early game, mid game, absolutely amazing tank. Throwing the barricade on him only furthers his shielding ability. He has a healing ability. He has a mitigation factor to him. He also has an added bonus running the barricade on him. Followed by the tanking relic. The waistband just has massive, massive stats, which are absolutely amazing with the amount of stats that this brings. Followed by our heal over time. Then, of course, the Call. Running the Call on Lucius is very unique, but remember, he shields your entire party. they need to make his shield stronger or his mitigation higher so he can actually go into late game, end game. But as of right now, again, early game, mid game, very, very solid tank, followed by Hendrik. Hendrik is what I consider a true tank. The only drawback that we see with Hendrik is 2 of his 4 abilities are one-time use only, meaning that after he uses the ability, he will no longer use the ability for the entire rest of battle, especially if it is triggered very, very early. But one of his abilities will keep a hero from taking fatal damage, which is the big reason why we put the waistband on him. Adding a ton of health, adding a ton of defense to Hendrik will increase his survivability, which is very, very strong, followed by the barricade. If the hero is blocked by his original ability, and then it does happen again later down the road that another hero takes fatal damage, if he is still up, he will guard that hero as well, making him a very, very strong tank and difficult to deal with, followed by the Chalice. The Chalice, again, for the health regeneration aspect of it. So overall, guys, these are the artifacts for the Lightbearers. Very, very cool to see. We have 2 more factions to go through. Mainly if your agility heroes are going frontline, the Shroud does work very well. If they're staying backline like Falks and Gwen, using a more damage-orientated artifact such as the Eye, very, very strong. Regeneration heroes or your support classes will really rely on the Call, the Tidebearer, any of the regeneration, except for some of those like Rain or Rose where they're kind of a little bit different, just in the makeup. And overall, looking at the new relic or the new artifact for the Mage class, I do really, really like the new artifact, especially if you have massive, massive AoE damage or AoE effects. If it's single target, you're only going to single target and only do damage with 1 target. But it's similar to Ain's. If it is 1 massive ultimate, it will trigger on a lot of different heroes. So let me know in the comments what you guys think. I know a lot of you guys were looking for the rest of the artifact guides. They are coming out soon. I'm doing some edits on them right now. So again, let me know in the comments what you guys think. And as always, thank you guys for watching.